are with our revamped and revitalized look on how to play each of the elements. This video is going to pertain to the Lightning Nation, the most aggressive element in the game. It has a tier 3 quest that if they eliminate an opponent, they win the game outright. That's right, it is a quest that counts for both of your win conditions to win the game. But are you going to make it to tier 3? Are your opponents even going to survive to tier 3? With all of your early game aggression, you are sacrificing your economy, but no land tastes sweeter than land that was previously purchased by your opponents. So take the aggression to your opponents and win the day. Let's take a look at their other abilities and how they tackle the board. Here we have a player favorite, the Lightning Nation, which has been absolutely dominant on our competitive scene for Empires of Aether. Lightning is the most aggressive nation in the game, and typically has an all or nothing, an all-in type play by turn 4 or so. But what I love about Lightning is their counters are really only elements that just don't die to their invasion. And Lightning doesn't really mind that. Yes, invading opponents is what they excel at, but also they're great at just killing boss tiles and progressing into the late game and pouncing on someone else that might be weakened by another fight that they encountered. And so Lightning is a great 2020 pick in my opinion. They don't have a strong economy, so starting off with those extra resources is fantastic. And you kind of just wait to see what the board is going to do. And you've got the military power to strike at whatever you want, whether it's a boss or an opponent that has left themselves open. So I really, really like it as a 2020 pick, and you're going to still be able to stay very, very relevant in the early game. And so their large card here is we don't need a barracks on our capital to train soldiers. We can just spawn soldiers. And so really this is only relevant for the first 1 or 2 turns for opening up in our corner. But additionally, we can also train up to an army starting in tier 1. Which is really, really relevant for early game aggression. And also on top of that, every third turn, we get to draw 2 advantage cards and take the better of the 2 that we like. And we have a +5 bonus against Magma. And yeah, they've got a good amount of abilities here, but there is a standard build to Lightning with only a couple of flex spots here. And so let's take a look at what their bread and butter tier 1s are. And in my opinion, 2 of the strongest tier 1s in the game, with Command Thunderstorm being a top 3 tier 1 in all of the game. We've got Battle Cry, Gust, Command Thunderstorm is right up there with the likes of those. Command Thunderstorm is going to replace whatever the weather currently is, so you remove that RNG aspect of the game. There's nothing that can stop you for these next 2 turns, and you are powered up both attack and defense for 2 turns, adding +2 to your unit's dice roll. Incredibly powerful. And so this can remove RNG from both the weather just stopping you from being able to move in that direction, helping your opponent that you're going after, or removes the RNG for taking down a boss. Incredibly powerful. And of course, with our speed of Lightning, we can move 2 tiles as long as we are staying with our general. So it does have a little bit of a condition there. It's not a straight up battle cry, but incredibly powerful. So if you can pair these 2 right out of the gate, you can see what our potential is. But of course, that just explodes onto the board once we get to tier 2 with our signature tier 2 combos here. Blitzkrieg Warfare is our best card in tier 2, where we get to place 2 barracks on one of your tiles. They can have resource buildings on them already, defensive fortifications on them already, it doesn't matter. But we can purchase 2 armies for 10 food this turn. And so if we combine that with Command Thunderstorm and Fast As, well then we can take on a lot of boss threats or virtually any opponent. And this is typically happening turn 3, turn 4. Very powerful. Shocking Development is there for if this attack doesn't work out. Because our economy is not great at all, we have the ability to still produce military every turn and stay relevant if defending is what our concern is. And so these are our central 4 cards. Outside of these, you got a couple of flex points here, and that does depend on what the matchup is. In my opinion, because our economy is so poor, the 2 tier 1s that you're going to want to look at are Rainy Day Fun and Thunderclap. And this really does kind of depend on what your matchup and your turn position is. Rainy Day Fun is really good if you're in those earlier turn positions, 10-10, 13-13. I don't think Lightning is a good 10-10 pick because they don't really have any discounts on anything, but they do have a couple of abilities that bridge the gap for them. Thunderclap, we can get a max of 10 building materials, so this is best served for once we pop Blitzkrieg Warfare, then we get those building materials back, which we will need to go to tier 3, because their tier 3 is fairly important for a lot of their finishes to this game. But in my opinion, I would say Rainy Day Fun is a stronger turn 1 move, but only good if you are going to use it turn 1. Otherwise, it's not that worth it. The other tier 1 that is good, but I do think it's kind of a losing pick if you're going to take it, is Power Outage. The only reason why I could see this being played is if you know who your long side and your short side opponents are and you know how they play. If you think that when you go at one of those opponents that you're going to be attacked on the other side, then Power Outage could be viable for you. The other tier 2 that is typically taken here is Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod is a great tier 2 in almost every matchup, and the only reason why we might not take it is because in some matchups there is another tier 2 that is going to be better for us. We can teleport 10 units anywhere on the board straight to our general, and that doesn't count for their movement. So if our general is able to move, we teleport those units to them, then those soldiers are able to move. That's essentially a 2-tile movement for those 10 soldiers or 2 armies, and we can attack on an opponent that isn't really expecting it. Lots of versatile uses for this. The only reason why you might not take it is in the instance that you're facing metal, which is a really, really big counter to you because they do disrupt your timing with their metallurgical men or their magnet tier 2, is Thunderbolts. Thunderbolt is great against metal and blood because they have really, really powerful defensive fortifications, and so this is going to get rid of those defenses, and you can still successfully attack them in those opening turns because it's very likely that if you disrupt their opening plays, then they won't be able to actually stop the invasion that is coming. And so tier 3, what are we playing for? Well, their signature tier 3 is their quest. And their quest is an interesting one. If we kill someone while tier 3, which is difficult to do, we win the game outright. That's both of our win conditions. This is absolutely, Lightning is an S tier choice when Oxipity the Harpy, the boss, is on the board. Pick whatever side she is on and just go for Oxipity. Because Oxipity, upon her defeat, we immediately progress to the next tier. So ideally, we're tier 2. We utilize Blitzkrieg Warfare, Command Thunderstorm. By killing her, we are immediately tier 3, and then we just throw soldiers at one of our opponents until they die, and we win the game. Really powerful strat. Our other tier 3s that we're going to take in order to make this happen is our Never Strikes Twice and our awesome guitar intro. You've been Thunderstruck here. Thunderstruck is just straight up 2 free armies. And we get to use his ability twice. That's 4 armies. So Lightning is not bad at getting the 10 army win condition either. However, playing a sort of turtley defensive laid back Lightning is not typically the strategy. The way Lightning has won most times in the past is via their quests, eliminating someone. And Never Strikes Twice is how we finish someone off. If we're attacking them 2 tiles away from their capital, we attack that tile that is closest to them. We can then attack their capital again because we're going to lose a lot of soldiers in the aftermath here. But if we're winning the game as a result of it, then I think that's a worthwhile play. And so those are your standard Lightning cards here. There's some awesome cards here, and they do have a unique tile, the Storm tile, which is one of the few ranged attacks in the game. Essentially, any soldiers that are on the Storm tile can attack from 3 tiles away and impact any battles that are there. It's super unique and super fun, but it's just not as effective as their other cards here. So, of course, we'll be exploring those options, and Lightning will be getting more options in the future, perhaps more play strategies. But that is what Lightning is, and if you are a PvP kind of person, then Lightning could very well be the nation for you.